When you eat a handful of grapes, the process of digestion starts almost instantly, well before the fruit reaches your stomach. Grapes are packed with natural sugars such as glucose and fructose, both of which are considered simple carbohydrates. These sugars differ from complex carbs like those found in beans, whole grains, or starchy vegetables, because they don't need to be broken down into smaller pieces for long before the body can use them. Before we continue, I'd like to tell you about diacylon, a powerful blend of 13 natural ingredients, each carefully selected for their proven ability to support healthy blood sugar levels, enhance insulin sensitivity, and promote overall wellness. You can read more on diacylon.com. As soon as you start chewing grapes, enzymes in your saliva, particularly amylase, begin to act on the small amount of starch and sugars in the fruit, starting the digestive process right in your mouth. The chewing action also bursts the grape skins and releases juice, which mixes with saliva and exposes nutrients like vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber to your digestive enzymes. Once swallowed, grapes travel down your esophagus into your stomach, where strong gastric acids and enzymes like pepsin further prepare the fruit for absorption. However, the stomach isn't where most of the sugar absorption happens. Its job is to churn and liquefy the food so that the small intestine can do the heavy lifting. In the small intestine, specialized cells in the lining called enterocytes absorb the glucose and fructose and transfer them directly into your bloodstream. Because these are simple sugars, this absorption happens very quickly compared to foods that contain starch or fiber-rich carbs that take longer to digest. This is why grapes, like other sweet fruits, can give you a noticeable lift in energy within a short period of time. They act like a natural fast fuel, something your body can tap into almost immediately without much digestive effort. If you're tired, slightly dehydrated, or low on energy, a handful of grapes can feel like flipping a light switch because of how rapidly they deliver usable energy. By around 30 minutes after eating grapes, your blood sugar has typically risen in response to the influx of natural sugars like glucose and fructose being absorbed into your bloodstream. The size and intensity of this increase aren't the same for everyone and can vary widely depending on several important factors. One of the biggest influences is portion size. Eating a small handful of grapes will cause a much smaller rise compared to polishing off half a large bunch. Another factor is whether you ate the grapes alone or as part of a mixed meal. When grapes are eaten alongside protein, fat, or fiber-rich foods, the absorption of sugar slows down, leading to a gentler rise. By contrast, eating them on an empty stomach makes the sugars hit your system much faster, producing a sharper bump. Your body's own insulin sensitivity also plays a key role. A healthy, active person with strong insulin sensitivity will move glucose into the muscles and liver efficiently, while someone with insulin resistance may see blood sugar remain higher for longer. Physical activity levels matter too. For example, if you snack on grapes right before a workout or even go for a brisk walk afterward, your muscles are primed to soak up glucose like sponges. This means you may not notice much of a spike at all because your body quickly puts the sugar to work as energy. But if you eat grapes while sitting still at a desk, relaxing on the couch, or driving, the glucose has nowhere to go immediately, and blood sugar tends to rise more noticeably. This is where the glycemic index, or GI, comes in. Grapes are classified as a medium glycemic index food, which means they fall somewhere between slow digesting, low GI foods, and fast-acting, high GI foods. The glycemic index is a scale that measures how quickly a food raises your blood sugar compared to pure glucose, which is given a score of 100. Foods with a low GI, such as lentils, beans, or leafy greens, release sugar gradually and cause only small fluctuations in blood sugar. On the opposite end, high GI foods like soda, white bread, and candy flood your bloodstream with glucose quickly, creating a sharp rise and often a rapid fall. Grapes sit comfortably in the middle of this spectrum, which makes their effect unique. They raise blood sugar faster than vegetables, legumes, or nuts, but at a much slower pace compared to processed sweets and sugary drinks. This moderate GI gives grapes a kind of versatility. They're sweet enough to deliver energy quickly, but balanced enough not to overwhelm the body. Athletes often take advantage of this, eating grapes or raisins before or after training to top off energy levels without risking the sluggishness that can come from processed sugars. For the average person, this means grapes can serve as a refreshing, satisfying snack that offers natural sweetness without the negative crash that often follows candy or soda. At the 30-minute point, many people notice subtle but real changes in how they feel after eating grapes. Some report a sense of being more awake, alert, or energized. This comes from the brain receiving a fresh supply of glucose, which it relies on almost exclusively for fuel. Others may simply feel satisfied, no longer craving something sweet. For individuals who are more sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations, though, the effects may be stronger. They might experience a quicker sugar rush, feeling almost hyper or jittery, followed by a dip as insulin pulls glucose out of the blood. This dip isn't necessarily dangerous for healthy people, but it can feel like a brief slump in energy. The way people perceive this process explains why grapes can feel like a perfectly balanced snack to one person and like a quick sugar jolt to another. The experience depends on your individual metabolism, your recent activity level, and even your current energy needs. In short, grapes at the 30-minute mark act as a nutritional mirror. They show you how your body handles natural sugars, giving you a snapshot of your energy balance and metabolic health in real time. Once your blood sugar starts to rise after eating grapes, your body doesn't simply allow it to climb unchecked. Instead, an intricate system of checks and balances kicks in almost immediately to maintain stability. The pancreas, a small but powerful gland located just behind your stomach, is the first responder in this process. It acts almost like a thermostat in your home, constantly monitoring glucose levels in the bloodstream and making adjustments whenever things drift too high or too low. When the pancreas senses that sugar is climbing after you've eaten grapes, it responds by secreting the hormone insulin. Insulin works like a master key. It fits into receptors on the surface of your cells, essentially unlocking the doors and allowing glucose to move out of the bloodstream and into tissues where it's needed most. Without insulin, the sugar would remain in circulation, leaving your cells starved for energy even though plenty of fuel was floating around unused. Around the 30-minute mark after eating grapes, this entire system is usually operating at full speed, actively working to prevent blood sugar from going too high and causing potential imbalances. This process is also highly coordinated with other hormones and systems in your body. While insulin lowers blood sugar by moving glucose into cells, another hormone called glucagon works in the opposite direction, raising blood sugar when levels get too low by signaling the liver to release stored glycogen. Cortisol and adrenaline can also influence this balance, especially during times of stress or physical exertion, when your body may release additional glucose to fuel a fight or flight response. The fact that all these hormones communicate seamlessly shows how dynamic and adaptable your body is when managing energy. It isn't just about one hormone doing one job. It's about an orchestra of hormones playing together to keep glucose within a safe and stable range. For healthy individuals, this regulation works almost flawlessly. Blood sugar rises moderately as the grapes are digested. Insulin is secreted at just the right time and in just the right amount. Cells open their doors, glucose enters, and levels begin drifting back toward baseline within a relatively short period. This is one of the reasons why many people can snack on fruit like grapes and feel energized but not overwhelmed. They experience a quick lift followed by a smooth return to balance. In fact, researchers often describe this process as metabolic flexibility, which refers to how efficiently your body can switch between using glucose from food and tapping into stored energy reserves. When everything is functioning well, your body can handle natural sugars gracefully, making fruits like grapes a source of fuel that enhances performance rather than disrupting it. But not everyone experiences this same outcome. For people who are insulin resistant, which is common in individuals with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, the process is far less efficient. In insulin resistance, the locks on the cells don't respond properly to the insulin keys. This means that glucose lingers in the bloodstream longer, causing blood sugar to spike higher and remain elevated for hours rather than minutes. Over time, this can lead to damaging effects on the blood vessels, nerves, and organs, which is why keeping blood sugar under control is so critical. What's fascinating is that the same small serving of grapes that gives one person a mild manageable boost can give another a prolonged surge that's harder to bring down. This variability isn't random. It's a reflection of the individual's unique metabolic health, shaped by genetics, diet, physical activity, sleep, and even stress levels. This difference in response explains why reactions to grapes, and sweet fruits in general, can vary so much from person to person. Some people feel energized, clear-headed, and satisfied after eating grapes, while others may notice sluggishness, brain fog, or even fatigue once their body finally starts lowering the sugar. Importantly, grapes themselves are not the problem here. They are nutrient-dense, full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants like resveratrol, and hydration benefits. The challenge lies in how your body manages the sugar within them. Understanding your personal response is critical because the 30-minute mark acts like a real-time snapshot of your metabolic health. It shows how efficiently your body processes sugars, how well your pancreas and insulin system are functioning, and whether your blood sugar regulation is smooth and balanced or strained and inefficient. In essence, those few minutes after eating grapes provide a small but powerful insight into your body's overall energy balance system, one that can work seamlessly or one that can reveal areas where your metabolism may need extra attention and care. One major reason grapes have a gentler effect on blood sugar compared to processed sweets is their natural fiber content, which works like a built-in stabilizer for your digestion. Grapes contain both soluble and insoluble fiber, especially concentrated in their skins, and these fibers play a significant role in how your body processes the sugars inside the fruit. Soluble fiber blends with water in your digestive tract to form a gel-like substance. This gel essentially slows down the speed at which sugars are released and absorbed into the bloodstream, creating a more gradual rise in blood sugar instead of a sharp spike. Insoluble fiber, on the other hand, doesn't dissolve in water, but adds volume and weight to your stool, helping food move smoothly through the intestines and reducing the risk of constipation. Together, these fibers act like brakes on what could otherwise be a sugar rush, ensuring your body has time to handle the sugars properly and preventing dramatic swings in energy. What's fascinating is that fiber also nourishes the beneficial bacteria in your gut, acting as a prebiotic. These bacteria help break down food, produce helpful compounds like short-chain fatty acids, and further contribute to blood sugar regulation. This makes grapes more than just a fruit. They are a synergistic system where sugar, fiber, and microbiome support all interact to keep your energy steady. To really see how important this fiber is, you can compare eating grapes to drinking grape juice. When grapes are juiced, the skins and pulp are removed, which means most of the fiber is stripped away. What you're left with is essentially a liquid form of fruit sugar that hits your bloodstream at lightning speed. Within 30 minutes of drinking grape juice, your blood sugar may shoot up sharply, and your body reacts by pumping out insulin as quickly as it can. The result is often a rapid crash in energy afterward, leaving you feeling tired, irritable, or even hungrier than before. With whole grapes, however, the story is much different. The sugar enters your system more slowly, the rise in blood sugar is smoother, and insulin is released in a measured way. This creates a curve that's easier for your body to manage, giving you steady energy instead of highs and lows. It's a powerful demonstration that the form of food matters as much as its ingredients. Two foods with identical sugar content, grape juice and whole grapes, can have completely different effects on your energy, hunger levels, and long-term health outcomes. This is why nutritionists often recommend eating fruits in their whole form, rather than drinking juices or consuming them in processed forms. But fiber isn't the only advantage grapes offer. Grapes also contain a variety of plant compounds known as polyphenols, and one of the most famous among them is resveratrol. Resveratrol is a powerful antioxidant that has been studied extensively for its role in supporting heart health, improving blood flow, reducing inflammation, and even increasing insulin sensitivity. Some research suggests it may also help protect cells from damage caused by free radicals, the unstable molecules that contribute to aging and chronic disease. Other polyphenols in grapes, such as flavonoids, anthocyanins, and catechins, further boost their antioxidant power. These compounds have been shown to improve vascular health, support the immune system, and reduce oxidative stress in tissues. The connection to the French paradox, the observation that French populations have relatively low rates of heart disease despite diets that can be rich in fats, is often attributed in part to these grape-derived compounds, particularly when consumed through red wine. At the 30-minute mark after eating grapes, you may not consciously feel resveratrol or these polyphenols working in your body, but they're active nonetheless, supporting your metabolism, protecting delicate cell structures, and fine-tuning your body's ability to respond to sugar. Over months and years, this background activity may translate into stronger cardiovascular health, better insulin sensitivity, and reduced inflammation, all of which make the short-term rise in blood sugar easier to handle. This is why eating whole grapes is so much more beneficial than consuming refined grape products. They're not just packets of sugar, they're carefully designed by nature to include fiber, water for hydration, vitamins like C and K, minerals like potassium and manganese, and protective antioxidants that make the overall effect much healthier and more balanced. Vitamin C supports immune defenses and collagen production, while vitamin K is crucial for bone strength and proper blood clotting. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure by balancing sodium levels in the body, and manganese plays a role in bone metabolism and antioxidant defense. When you eat grapes in their natural form, you're giving your body a package deal: quick energy from sugars, digestive support from fiber, cellular protection from antioxidants, hydration that aids circulation and temperature control, and micronutrients that keep systems running smoothly. Contrast that with refined products, where you may get the sweetness but none of the breaks, buffers, or benefits that keep your body in balance. At the 30-minute mark, that difference shows clearly. Grape juice may spike and crash your energy, while whole grapes gently elevate and sustain it. Over time, choosing whole grapes consistently can make the difference between constantly battling roller coaster energy levels and enjoying a steady natural flow of vitality that supports both short-term performance and long-term health. By the half-hour mark, your body is actively distributing the glucose from the grapes to the areas that need it most, almost like a supply chain in action. Your muscles are among the first to receive this fuel, especially if you've been physically active or have recently exercised. Muscles are essentially storage banks for glucose, holding it in the form of glycogen so that it can be drawn upon quickly during movement. If you've been lifting weights, running, cycling, or even doing something as simple as carrying groceries up the stairs, your muscles will eagerly soak up glucose to replenish what they've burned. This is why athletes often snack on grapes, raisins, or other fruit before or after workouts. They need a fast-acting carbohydrate that their bodies can burn almost immediately. Grapes fit this role perfectly because their natural sugars can be redirected quickly into energy without the sluggishness or digestive discomfort that sometimes comes from heavier foods. Even if you haven't been physically active, your muscles are still taking in glucose to fuel everyday activities you barely notice, like maintaining posture while sitting, shifting your weight as you stand, or making tiny adjustments as you move your hands and head. At the same time, your brain is receiving a steady supply of glucose, which is critical because glucose is its primary source of fuel. Even though your brain makes up only about 2% of your body's weight, it consumes nearly 20% of your total energy at rest, meaning it is constantly hungry for sugar. That small but noticeable rise in blood glucose about 30 minutes after eating grapes can sharpen your mental state, giving you improved alertness, quicker memory recall, and better concentration. It's one reason people sometimes eat fruit before exams, meetings, or any mentally demanding task. The brain responds quickly to glucose, almost like a car engine purring more smoothly after receiving premium fuel. In fact, research shows that even modest increases in blood sugar can improve reaction time and cognitive performance in the short term. This effect isn't just psychological, it's a direct result of the brain getting the fuel it craves. For people who sometimes feel sluggish or mentally foggy in the afternoon, a handful of grapes can act as a natural mental pick-me-up without the overstimulation that comes from caffeine or energy drinks. Meanwhile, your liver is playing a quieter but equally important role in this process. The liver acts like the body's warehouse manager, carefully deciding how much glucose should be used right away and how much should be stored for later. Excess glucose that isn't immediately needed by the muscles or the brain is converted into glycogen in the liver, creating an easily accessible energy reserve. Later, when you haven't eaten for a while, or during periods of increased demand, like overnight while you sleep or during prolonged exercise, the liver can release glycogen back into the bloodstream to keep your energy stable. This balancing act ensures that you don't suddenly run out of fuel between meals. If glucose intake consistently exceeds what the muscles, brain, and liver can use or store, your body eventually converts some of it into fat as a longer-term energy reserve. But it's important to emphasize that this process doesn't happen after just one snack of grapes. It's the result of a long-term pattern of consuming more energy than you burn. So by the 30-minute mark, what you're really witnessing is your body's remarkable efficiency at managing energy. The glucose from the grapes is not wasted. It is allocated with precision. Some goes to your muscles to fuel both visible movements and subtle unconscious activities. Some goes to your brain, powering thought, focus, and creativity. Some is stored in the liver, tucked away safely for later use. The entire system functions like a well-organized economy, directing resources to where they're most valuable in the moment while saving a portion for future needs. This fine-tuned orchestration is what keeps you balanced, energized, and ready for whatever task comes next, whether that's a workout, a brainstorming session, or simply staying awake and alert through the rest of your day. For individuals who closely monitor their blood sugar, such as people with diabetes, prediabetes, or even those simply trying to keep a closer eye on their metabolic health, the 30-minute window after eating grapes can provide very revealing insights. Typically, healthcare providers recommend checking blood sugar about 1 to 2 hours after meals to capture the overall impact of digestion and insulin response. However, measuring at the 30-minute point can act like a fast snapshot of how your body reacts to simple carbohydrates right at the start of the process. If you notice a sharp, steep increase in glucose at this stage, it can signal that your body is absorbing sugars quickly and that your cells may not be responding effectively to insulin. In contrast, if your blood sugar rises more slowly and steadily, it suggests your metabolism is processing the fruit efficiently, with insulin and glucose uptake working smoothly in tandem. This short-term test can help people spot patterns, giving them clues about how different foods affect them in real time. This is also where portion control becomes critically important. Grapes are deceptively easy to overeat because they're small, sweet, and refreshing. You can pop them into your mouth one after another without realizing how many you've consumed. A small portion of around 10 to 15 grapes is often enough to provide sweetness and energy while keeping blood sugar changes modest. But eating half a large bunch, something many people do absent-mindedly while watching TV or working, delivers a large dose of natural sugars that can overwhelm your system and lead to a much more dramatic spike. This doesn't mean grapes are bad. In fact, they're nutrient-rich and come with many health benefits. The key is balancing their natural sugar content with mindful portion sizes so that your body gets the best of both worlds. Quick energy and nutrients without unnecessary stress on blood sugar control. The nutrient profile of grapes adds another layer to their story. They provide vitamin C, which is essential for immune function, tissue repair, and antioxidant defense. They also supply vitamin K, a nutrient critical for proper blood clotting and for supporting bone health and strength. Grapes are naturally rich in potassium, a mineral that helps regulate blood pressure, supports proper heart rhythm, and maintains fluid balance throughout the body. On top of that, grapes are made up of about 80% water, which makes them not just a source of energy, but also an excellent hydrating snack. This hydration factor is particularly useful for people who may mistake thirst for hunger or who want a refreshing alternative to processed sweets. All of these nutrients work in synergy to make grapes far more than just sugar. They're a nutrient-dense package that delivers health benefits beyond quick energy. That said, because grapes do contain natural sugars that can add up quickly, many nutritionists recommend pairing them with foods that add balance and slow the digestion process even further. Combining grapes with a source of protein or healthy fat, like a handful of nuts, a slice of cheese, or a serving of yogurt, creates a more complete snack. The protein and fat act like speed bumps in your digestive tract, delaying how fast the sugars move into the bloodstream and flattening out the sugar curve. Instead of a sharp rise followed by a crash, you get a gentler, more sustained release of energy that keeps you satisfied longer. This approach also reduces stress on your body's insulin response system, which is especially important for people with diabetes or insulin resistance. By pairing grapes thoughtfully, you essentially transform them from a quick sugar hit into a balanced mini meal that fuels your body, hydrates you, and supports stable blood sugar. In short, the 30-minute mark is more than just a number. It's a feedback window. It shows you how your body personally reacts to grapes and whether your blood sugar control system is being strained or working smoothly. By paying attention to portion sizes, nutrient balance, and food pairings, you can enjoy the sweetness and health benefits of grapes without worry, making them a smart choice rather than a risky one. All in all, what happens to your blood sugar 30 minutes after eating grapes is a fascinating and very real example of how intricately the body manages energy behind the scenes. Within just half an hour, you experience a noticeable rise in glucose as the natural sugars from the grapes are absorbed into your bloodstream. Almost instantly, your pancreas senses this increase and releases insulin, the hormone responsible for guiding that sugar into your cells. This process is like a finely choreographed dance. The sugars enter, insulin responds in perfect timing, and glucose is delivered to the places where it can be used most effectively. Your muscles act like eager storage tanks, soaking up sugar to refuel glycogen stores and prepare for any future movement, whether it's a workout or something as simple as walking or standing upright. Your brain, which consumes about 1/5 of your resting energy, benefits almost immediately from the glucose supply, giving you sharper focus, improved alertness, and mental clarity. Meanwhile, your liver plays its role as the body's energy manager, carefully balancing between storing glucose as glycogen and releasing it when needed, creating a safety net that helps keep blood sugar from spiking too high or dropping too fast. In the background, the fiber in grape skins slows down digestion, antioxidants like resveratrol fight oxidative stress, and polyphenols quietly support your cardiovascular system, all adding invisible layers of protection and balance beyond energy regulation. For healthy individuals, this system typically runs like a well-oiled machine. Blood sugar rises in a steady, predictable way, insulin is secreted in just the right amount, and cells quickly take in the glucose they need. Within an hour or so, levels begin returning toward baseline, and the result is a wave of steady energy without the dramatic crash associated with processed sweets. It's also important to step back and remember that grapes are far more than just sugar in disguise. They are composed of about 80% water, which makes them an excellent source of natural hydration, supporting circulation, digestion, and temperature control. Their fiber content not only slows sugar absorption, but also feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, strengthening the microbiome and producing compounds that further help regulate blood sugar. They are loaded with antioxidants like resveratrol, flavonoids, and anthocyanins, which protect blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and improve cardiovascular resilience. Beyond that, grapes provide essential vitamins and minerals. Vitamin C to strengthen immunity and repair tissues, vitamin K to build strong bones and support clotting, and potassium to balance sodium and maintain stable blood pressure. Even trace minerals like manganese contribute to energy metabolism and antioxidant defense. When you look at grapes as a whole, they're not empty calories but a complete package designed by nature to hydrate, energize, and protect. This makes them worlds apart from sodas or candies, which provide sugar but none of the natural breaks, buffers, or protective compounds that keep your body stable. So those 30 minutes after eating grapes aren't just about sugar spikes or dips. They're a window into the elegance of your body's internal systems. They highlight how quickly your pancreas, muscles, brain, liver, and digestive system coordinate to keep everything balanced. They reveal how food in its whole, natural form interacts with your metabolism in ways that are both immediate, like energy and alertness, and long-term, like heart health and improved insulin sensitivity. Grapes are a living example of how whole foods offer far more than the sum of their sugars. They hydrate you, nourish you with micronutrients, strengthen your defenses with antioxidants, and provide energy in a way that's steady and sustainable. Whether you are a healthy individual using grapes as a midday pick-me-up, an athlete who needs quick glycogen replenishment, or someone with insulin resistance carefully monitoring blood sugar, grapes demonstrate the quiet sophistication of whole foods. They are sweet, convenient, and enjoyable, yet they also serve as a lesson in balance. A reminder that the body works best when fuel comes with fiber, hydration, and protective compounds. The next time you enjoy a handful of grapes, remember that what happens in those first 30 minutes is far more than just a sugar story. It's a glimpse into the remarkable coordination of your metabolism, the intelligence of your digestive system, and the quiet, ongoing work your body does every day to keep you fueled, balanced, and resilient. Grapes in this sense are not just a snack. They're a small but powerful demonstration of the beauty of natural nutrition and the elegance of the human body at work.